Well, hello and welcome, everybody. I'm Dena Crowder, your power strategist. And today we are talking to people who are chosen because this is you are chosen. And this is for people like you who feel called or chosen to bring a message, a new system, art, innovation. You really are here to shake things up and to be a change agent, to be an influencer, a creator, or a leader. And the thing with being chosen is that it is glorious and it's also very confusing and can be painful because we're not conditioned or educated as to how to step into our calling, how to step into our mission that we feel chosen for. So this is an opportunity for us to get into the nitty-gritty of what it looks like practically to be the chosen one and to answer that calling. I'm really happy to be here with 3 terrific clients. We're going to be talking with them. The overall topic is you are chosen. So you're in the right place if you feel chosen. But today's focus is all about being at the crossroads. Because if you are living your calling, there are going to be several times in your life when you are at a crossroads. You find yourself at, kind of like the Boys to Men song, we have come to the end of the road. And you do have to let go because there's nowhere else to go. When you get there, it can be confusing. It can feel secretly shameful. It's definitely frustrating. It might bring up anger because, like another old song says, what used to work so well don't work no more. And we find that we keep trying to go back to what used to work. We keep trying to do what we know how to do, but it isn't leading us to satisfaction because a totally new road is called for. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. What does that mean? How can you choose at the crossroads? What are the really precise things you need to orient to when you're there? So with that, I'd like us to all close our eyes and say a prayer for guidance, because whatever you believe, however you call God or spirit, that's totally fine. You can translate what I'm saying into your own belief system. We ask that all of us here today and any people watching who are here to learn how to powerfully navigate this chosen one thing, how to masterfully integrate it into their personal and professional life, we ask that all of us be open to hearing something new, to hearing higher wisdom, and that we have both the humility and the courage to follow that higher wisdom. We ask that we be tender and vulnerable, as well as strong and courageous as we take this bold step. And so it is. All right, let's talk about the crossroads. You get to the crossroads. Anybody can relate? Raise your hand. Oh, I love it. And you don't have the tools. You don't necessarily know how to choose the right road. All of this is confusion upon confusion. And then on top of it, this other thing that happens, and I am so guilty of this, which is that you think that you're ready to jump onto the new road with full functionality and all your systems go. But it's kind of like this story I heard years ago about Bob Marley when he was first being discovered with his first band. He was a teenager. He's back in the islands. He's shoeless. They were very poor. I think he a lot of times he didn't have shoes, didn't have food, but he had this talent, he had this music, he had this fire. So this guy who was really instrumental in helping he and the band become famous hears him. Somebody says, "Hey man, what do you think? What do you think? Aren't they great? Aren't they stars?" And he looks at the guy and he said, "Them not ready, man. Them getting ready to get ready." And the guy, kind of took him back because he was right. It was not the next day or the day after or the day after that they blew up. They had to go into intensive training. Wah, wah, wah. So this affects us as people who feel really called and who have extraordinary gifts, because we know that we have these gifts. And we have this assumption that because we have the potential, that we also have the capacity. But when we find ourselves at a crossroads, the thing that's really true is we're also being asked not just to choose a new road, but when we get on that new road, to radically expand our capacity, to spend those years that Bob Marley or the Beatles spent practicing and honing our craft. And I know that we all have experienced that, and sometimes it's a real pain in the you-know-what, because it takes a while. Anybody relate to it taking a while? And it's, yeah, it's super annoying sometimes. But it matches the level of your talent. It matches the level of your potential. It's not a small gift. And so it does not require a quick and dirty get ready period. So with that, I want to talk about each of you. And perhaps some of the people who are watching will be able to relate to one or all of you in terms of where you are at your crossroads. We've talked about finding yourself in a place where things don't work anymore, and you know that there's something new being asked for. There's a new direction, a new road. And what I'd like to do is hear, so take a moment to think about this. You might even want to close your eyes. What really is your most burning question about being at the crossroads right now? And I want you to look in the place of intensity, because that's where the gift is, and that's where the power is. Power is about being able to directly influence. When we look at intensity, what's delivering the most intensity, that gives us a hint or a way in to where we're going to be able to unlock the most power. So, who has a question about your crossroads? And if you don't have a question, just what's delivering the most intensity right now for you about it? And we can formulate the question from there.
I have a question.
Yes, question. Go.
So this doesn't actually feel like my most burning question, but I think that this question will open up the conversation that most wants to be had.
Okay.
So the question is, how do you not let it, whatever your it is, your business or your life or everything, fall apart in the transition as you like land on the new crossroad and everything that's like the old way of being is just like bogus now? Mm-hmm. And you know, I could just speak from personal experience right now. I just like could give a fuck about my business or really like anything. Like I just like whatever's coming up at this crossroads, like, yeah, there's this whole like bigger me and bigger vision and bigger power and bigger, you know, potential actualized out in the world thing coming. Like, and I get that. And right now I could give a fuck about any of it. And sorry if that word offends your audience, but you didn't give me that guideline. So
Noah, if they are watching me, I think they're kind of cool with
okay.
a lot of stuff.
Okay, cool. They've seen rated R movies before? Okay.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So yeah, I can give a fuck and I just kind of want to lay in a hammock. And that's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's real shit happening around me that needs to keep happening around me, and my participation in that is necessary. And at the same time, there's a part of me that's so driven by and values so highly my freedom that since I actually don't feel like I give a fuck, it's very, like, I haven't faked it in over a decade. Like, when I left college, that was the last time I ever worked for someone else. It was the last time I ever did really anything that I didn't want to do. Right. So, like, feeling completely, like, don't want to do, like, everything that's up in my world that's, like, responsibilities, and I just want to lay in a hammock, I'm pretty, like, prone to just go lay in the hammock because that's, like, what I value in my life. So, but I also have responsibilities. How do I not let them fall apart? That's the question I'm in right now.
Throw your hands in the air and wave like you just don't care. Oh, somebody say, oh. Okay. Teresa, is it okay if I mention something about you in conjunction with Noah? Is that okay? Teresa and I have had this conversation where sometimes, even though she's such a pretty lady and so elegant, she will call me up and say, Dena, F it. Right? Can you relate to him?
Oh, yeah, I totally could. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, F it. And it's not surrender. We think it's surrender. We think it's this courageous, take this job and shove it, I ain't working here no more kind of thing. But what it really is an act of despair. That's the real truth. It's an act of defiance and despair against the bigger authority, the higher authority, the higher wisdom, the expanded power that is asking us to come forward. What this means and what this looks like a little more precisely is when you hit the crossroads, what you're used to doing, your usual methods no longer work. We tell ourselves, okay, I'm going to try something new. But generally, because we're really so gifted and smart, we're fooling ourselves about trying something new in the beginning. We're getting ready to get ready. We're thinking about trying something new. We're trying on the idea, but we haven't committed to it yet. We haven't surrendered yet. So what happens is there's still a lot of the old approach in what we're doing. And the old approach causes us to hit a wall. And that wall then propels us into some form of despair. Oh, see, it's not working. Or defiance, which is, well, I'm not going to go past this wall. I'm not going to do the new approach. I'm not actually going to surrender. So let's back up with you, Noah, and let's find the question so that we can answer it. You were talking about things falling apart. So one question could be, do things have to fall apart for me to get on the new road? And the answer is no. They don't. But your experience is, our things might fall apart because I'm at this effort place, right? And I don't want to attend to things. So if I don't show up, they might fall apart. The question really lives in the not wanting to show up and in the effort. Like, what is the ground of reality? So I'm going to have you close your eyes. What is the ground of reality that you haven't quite touched right before you're going to touch it, you go, forget it. I'm going to I'm just going to forget it. I'm going to throw everything off, and I'm just going to do an Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita and say, I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to move on. I'm just going to give up. And if you don't know, that's fine. But tell me what's there. First step when we find ourselves at a crossroads, and so this is for everyone, is to recognize how tender a place it is. We tend to meet the crossroads with a lot of tension because we don't know what to do. And that's often what comes up first is tension. Let that tension go. This is the first step for everybody. So Noah, you're doing it now. You're letting that tension go, and you're allowing yourself permission to drop into the tenderness. So there's a big relief there. And then from that place of tenderness where you have so much permission to feel, what is this ground that you haven't quite touched yet?
Like the reality is that my whole business still revolves around me, even though I now have 8 other people around me. Like it's still all me, and I still need it to be all me. Like there's actually something in me that's the old pattern.
Yes.
So like I still have the old pattern in front of me. And I'm
Yes. Yes.
if it's not there, but it is.
Yes, exactly. You're them getting ready to get ready, man. It's beautiful. It's part of the process. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and we're told to be ashamed because we're given this lie that from the moment we have the vision to the moment the vision manifests, there are no steps. We have the vision and then we just leap. There are these steps. The first step, tenderness, we've got to that. And then the second step, which you just beautifully articulated, is to unhook from the place you've previously gotten approval or sought to get approval. And you just found it because you're so brilliant like that. I don't have to do any work with you guys. I just sit here and drink my tea. So for you, you said, I need it to be all about me. What is the sense of value, the sense of I-ness, and the sense of approval that happens, and we're talking in the old paradigm, when the business is all about you?
Just like getting rewarded for being a hard worker, like very like old factory style mindset. Like you crank out the most widgets, like you are the most honorable employee. That kind of mindset.
Yes. Yeah. Take a breath, everybody. It's really true. And we all get there. Because whatever we were doing before, we were getting a sense of value and approval from that. We get tender, we drop in, we see what's really there, and then we notice, oh my goodness, I'm holding on to this because this is how I've gotten approval and value before. All right, so then we're going to go to the next step. And that is, again, close your eyes, Noah, that is an inner step of self-approval and self-appreciation. Is it possible for you to appreciate and approve of and value yourself, if you are not the hardest worker, and if you're not the center, like Louis the Sun King, you have to be the center of everything. If you're not, you don't have to be the center of everything. And things can work with your guidance and assistance, but you don't have to do everything. You're not the doer. Is it possible that you can give yourself approval for that?
I'm on a call. All good. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what does that feel like if you do that?
There's like a resistant part of me that wants to say I'm already doing that.
Yes. Woo! Exactly. And that's the part that doesn't want to get bigger. That's the part that does the despair. That's the part that gets defiant. It chooses one of those things. It's like, I'm already doing it. I'm already totally ready. My hair looks good. What you mean? I don't need to brush my hair. I'm fine. And that is an aspect that we all have. And when we're giving ourselves this self-approval, we will meet our version of that. And it is a version that have you ever seen the old ladies that have the hairdo that they've had since 1955, and they go to the same hairstylist? You all know what I'm talking about too. They go to the same hairstylist. You walk in there and there's like 6 little old ladies. My grandma used to go to a hairstylist like this. She went to the same lady for like 50 years. The lady did everybody's hair the same. And they didn't want to change anything about it because that's how they liked it. That's how they saw themselves. When they were young, they wore their hair that way. That's when they felt vibrant and the most attractive. And they're not about to change that beehive. This part of us, Teresa, you're laughing. This part of us is the same. It's no different. It's needs reassurance that even if it changes and it has to expand to be part of this new paradigm, that it will be not only safe, but that it will be loved and valued and a part of things. Welcome the resistance. Let that resistance speak and talk. There's no need to, not only no need to suppress it, we want to hear that voice because it's a very significant part of ourselves. It just wants reassurance.
Yeah, I think I just need to like do some journaling and dialogue with it and fully hear all that it has to say.
Yeah.
That it can, that part of me can know that it's going to have a place on the other side.
Mm-hmm. The thing about feeling called or chosen is so much of what drives us and so much of what frustrates us has to do with finding our place. Our inner characters, which I call subpersonas, have the same need. They want to make sure that they have a place too. Therefore, it's like a reflection. Cool. So what would you say now, knowing what you now know, Noah? Comments? Highlight?
I mean, I think it's just like you were basically describing exactly the internal experience of exactly what's been unfolding. So like, it's just spot on. Like when you were saying that the whole act of despair thing, like, and everything leading up to that, is just Yeah, it was exactly identifying the piece of my personality, how it's behaving. It's completely different than probably what I would have called it 5 minutes ago.
Mm.
So it's a key awareness. And it already feels less valid of a mental state to be in. Like it's not, it's not like I'm pressuring it or forcing it. It doesn't need to change right now, but I just naturally already feel different because it's kind of like, just kind of makes sense.
Mm. Yay! Excellent. Very, very good. One thing I would like to add about despair is there's a philosopher, long dead, Soren Kierkegaard. He talked about despair. And he said, when we as human beings get to that place of, I can't, there's no help for me, I can't, the F it is a refusal or a defiance to accept that there is a higher power that can come in and support us and help us grow into answering, meeting or exceeding this next challenge. And I always liked that because it's so easy for anybody, because life can be rough sometimes, but especially when we feel like we're called to do something that isn't being done, it's so easy to fall into that place of despair/defiance. And if we can just train ourselves to remember, oh, I'm being asked to expand and I'm being asked to accept more support from whatever you call God and also from people than maybe my ego's comfortable with. It can help. It helps me anyway. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you. Teresa, do you have a burning question?
I guess what I run into, and you kind of know about it because I brought it up before, but I can't say it's completely gone away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so right now I'm an acupuncturist. I own my own business, and it's safe for me to work individually, one-on-one. I'm really good at like helping someone in that way. And how can I express this? It's more like in my head I know what I know, and I just help in a way that's acceptable to the person I'm working on.
Yes.
And I guess my crossroad now is that I'm expanding to do more. I still am not exactly clear how that's gonna look, maybe teaching of some kind, but I'm just not taking that step to go into the limelight at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel safe with one person at a time. I can do really well with that. And I know they're needing my help, I can do it. It's like they're giving me permission. But when I'm in a group of people, I don't know that I'm good enough. I don't know I'm speaking to them. I don't want to be judged. I don't want I feel like I'm afraid of people's reactions and judgments. Yeah. So that's kind of.
Yeah.
You know what? It's okay. It's not my thing.
F it. I don't want to do it anyway.
Yeah. I'm here. Yeah.
I am very familiar with all of this. Yes. Well, let's use, so that we get practice with it, let's use the steps that we just used with Noah, with you, and see where we go in terms of this approval for you. So the first thing is, close your eyes for me and give yourself permission to be tender. Sometimes that can feel very vulnerable, unprotected, naked. People who've known me a long time know that even though that this is totally what I do and what I teach, when my clients make me cry, I get peeved. And I say, oh, you made me cry. I don't want to. So I understand. Permission to be tender is going to bring you down because you, as a doctor, as a healer, as a business owner, as someone who owns a clinic, you spend a lot of time in your extremely smart and capable intellect. And that's where you're trying to figure this quandary out from, is the mind. And what's happening instead is you're going around and around and around on like a merry-go-round, and then you hit the wall because you get worn out. And then you say, F it. I don't want to do it anymore. That's it. If you allow yourself to come down into your body, into a relaxation, into letting the tension go, and you then give yourself permission to unhook from whatever the place is that you're receiving, whether it looks like a feeding tube, kind of like in the Matrix, or it looks like some other way that you're being fed the approval from standing in front of that one person. You can even imagine it. Imagine you're standing giving someone a treatment. You're getting value, you're getting approval. Imagine yourself unhooking from that. It will probably feel naked or empty even. See if you can relax into that. And what I feel for you isn't the fear that if you unhook from that and then you are able to plug in to something larger where you also get approval still from one-on-one people, but from other things too. When I look at you, I totally get that you know that's possible. For some people, they might say, well, I don't know if that's possible. I think you do know that's possible. I think you know it's there. That's not our issue. We have to go somewhere else with you. Where is the issue? The issue is authority. Do you have the right to unplug from that being your main source of value or approval? That's where it lives. Tell me about that. You can keep your eyes open or closed.
Do I have the approval?
Yeah, do you have the authority? It's like when someone is taken off life support. Do they have the authority to unplug that person? That's kind of how it feels to me. Do you have the authority to unplug from your main thing being, this is how I get approval from the one-on-one, and to plug into getting approval from one-on-one and other stuff too?
Yeah, actually, I never thought of that. And the first time you said to unhook, it actually felt free. It felt good. I wanted to do that. And then when you asked about permission for it, it seems scary to let go. Like,
Yes.
what do I mean? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely something there.
Yeah, you're not alone. It's true for anybody, but most especially for women, the authority piece. Do I have a right to be the one to decide that I deserve to get value and approval in a bigger way? Who might disapprove of that?
Family,
Yeah. Yes.
relatives,
What'd you say after family?
relatives.
Uh-huh. Imagine you're standing there, right? And you're with the one-on-one person and you're getting the approval feeding and they're okay with that. So it's all good. And then you say, wait, you know what? I think I'm gonna up this. I'm gonna get the luxury version. I'm gonna unplug.
Oh, the luxury version. Oh yeah, I remember how
an upgrade.
I did when I want luxury.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the up-leveled plug in here where more people, more it's sort of like, you know, more intense experience of being seen and being recognized and perhaps being approved of comes. Well, you have people who say, do you have a right to do that? Who are you? Think you're some kind of star? Huh?
I think they already feel that way about me now. So
Yes, they sure do. And so,
like, yeah, right. So yeah. So now what? I don't know how do I handle that?
yes. Well, I will help you with this on our own outside of this. But for anybody who's listening, there's a guy called Dr. Mario Martinez. Have I ever talked with you about him?
You mentioned his name before.
Maybe mentioned. Okay. He has this audio series. I think it's called the Mind Body Code. I'm pretty sure, but it's close enough that people will be able to find it. And I can share with you the exact audios that relate to what we're talking about. But anyway, in the Mind Body Code, he has this exercise where when you're going for more of something, like more abundance in an area, whether it's love, or in this case, we're talking about you giving yourself more authority to be able to expand, that you have these people in your life. Maybe they're relatives, maybe it's your teacher from kindergarten, who knows who it is. Sometimes it might even be an archetype that in our psyche is standing around saying, oh no you don't, who do you think you are? And you have a dialogue with each one where you say, okay, mom, this is what I'm doing. Okay, dad. Okay, Mrs. Rabinowitz. Okay, you know, whoever these people are that are living as characters in your psyche, you have a conversation with them. And in that conversation, you offer forgiveness both ways. That's important. And then you actually set up the new agreement. Oh, I'm going to be doing this now. I'm going to be expanding. I'm not going to maybe just be working one-on-one. It's a process of helping yourself give authority to yourself in a way that doesn't create conflict, doesn't create, as Noah was saying, your world falling apart, doesn't create you having a nervous breakdown. A lot of times people try to take these big leaps and they crack up because nobody's talking about this stuff. Nobody's talking about how you work with the inner self or going through these steps. So then the last step also after that for you, Teresa, and for everybody is that inner step of self-approval, self-appreciation, and self-value where you're able to plug into something new. Make sense?
What do you mean plug into something new?
Plug into the next level, the bigger level.
Like feel it and be in it? And...
Yeah, well, so just to say it a different way, you have the authority to be at the level you're on with the one-on-one, but what we're plugging into is your authority to be at a bigger level. Is that clearer?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any final words before we go to Jen?
No, I'm really excited to have these dialogues. It's like I can't speak to them in real life.
Yes.
But I can speak to them through this, and I'm really excited actually. My
I love 2 for 2.
something.
We're batting 1,000 with Noah and Teresa. Thank you so much. Jen, how about you? Do you have a burning question or a comment?
Yeah. So I kind of recently jumped off the crossroad, but I'm sort of like still in the jump, and I haven't hit pay dirt yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, I used to have a business, and so I had 8 years of experience in how to do that. But now I'm doing something really, really different, and I don't really have my network yet of people that, I know are going to love what I'm doing and, get on board with it. And I think, you and I have talked about this somewhat about, finding your tribe, and I'm working on that. And I feel like I've been pretty successful with it so far, but it's like when I land, am I going to look back on this and say, yeah, that was the right thing to do. So that's kind of where I am right now, is just in that questioning thing of, okay, I took the leap. I did what I was called to do. So what's going to happen now? What happens next?
Show me something, universe. Show me something.
Yes.
What was that from? Oh, Show Me the Money from
Yes. Show me the money. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, 2 things. First is when I was moving out of spending maybe 70% of my time as a professional celebrity chef and 30% on consulting, because so for those who don't know, I went through this 4 or 5 year period where I shook things up. I guess that's God calling. Hello. When and whoever's calling the network, can you hear it? Call from network.
There you go.
And you're just talking about your network. I think that's a beautiful confirmation.
Crazy.
Anyway, when I was moving through this transition, someone very wise said to me, Dena, your old circle of influence is completely useless. It was a little scary, but also perfectly true. I offer that to you, that your old circles of influence and networks, many of them might turn out to be completely useless. And that's a good thing, because what it means is that you are, like the 2 that have just spoken, you are actually expanding beyond the boundaries that you've played within before. But the rough part is you're kind of in this place where you're anticipating the result that hasn't shown up yet.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So for you, all those steps that we talked about, the unhooking from the approval, giving yourself approval, that's all great. But because of where you are in having already left the way that you have, I would suggest something. I will share it with you. It's an exercise. It's called From Fear into Power. And it's where you take the very naturally occurring, because we've all been there, thoughts that are arising when it's just not here yet. You're doing what is required, but it's still not quite here. And the fearful thoughts come up. So you can apply this process. I can do it with you, but we have to go shortly. So for the sake of this, it's called Fear into Power. And anybody who's watching this, if you write to me I'll make sure that you get a copy. It's an audio, and it's just 3 or 4 steps that once you learn, you can do. I did it a few days ago. You notice you're having fearful thoughts. You notice you're contracting. You notice, oh my goodness, I've put all this into it and I'm wondering, is it going to pay off? You can ask yourself these questions, and what it does is it gives you clarity so that you're not stuck in the fear. Is that helpful for you?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because you're taking the steps. You've realized, oh, yeah, I got to unhook from the other approval. I've got to take the leap. And, you didn't land yet.
I'm free falling.
Yeah.
Whee!
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's training for these, you're in this very Olympic athlete kind of spot where you're being asked to have a high level of training around mindfulness, around not falling into the despair and the defiance that we've been talking about the whole time. And what every single one of you is talking about, we all hit these spots sometime. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
No, thank you. So before we say an official goodbye, any final curse words? No. Any final things that you want to say before we say adieu for now?
I think you're amazing, Dena. Thank you so much. You just see so deeply, and it's really awesome to be able to go there with you, and you just thank you. I'm really
thank you. I appreciate you. You're really a blessing. All 3 of you are just a stupendous blessing in my life. I mean that sincerely. You guys are rock stars in your own fields and beautiful souls. I'm so grateful to know you.
I so love and appreciate you, Miss Dena, and I have to jet, and thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Noah.
I don't know.
So, anything for you, Jen?
Just again, gratitude and thanks for, letting me just jump in on this thing and be a part of it, and for sharing the tools that you have, because tools are so valuable, like real solid tools.
Yeah.
Not just words and, like puffing people up. Yeah. You don't do that. You do puff people up, but you also give tools, which is very valuable. So thank you.
Thank you. That's my passion. I want to go out and commit hara-kiri on some days when I see these poor people paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for what you just described, a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're wonderful. Girl, you can go on Oprah. Send me that check. What?
Yeah.
This person needs help. And, nobody wants to tell the truth because it's the way it is. So I'm grateful for those who want the tools. It's wonderful. This You Are Chosen, I'm considering doing it maybe every month or 2 because I think it can be very valuable. So those of you who are watching, if you are agreeing with that and you would like at some point maybe to be one of the 3 people on You Are Chosen and you get to ask your burning question, send me an email about it. I would love to keep sharing. And also, if you are watching this before April 22nd, actually, if you're watching this before April 15th, I am doing my first group class after a 1.5 year hiatus called Unlock Your Pure Power, Get in Position for Your Bigger Impact. And it's for creators, leaders, and influencers. And why I said April 15th is because that's when registration closes, and April 22nd is when we begin. It's a virtual advanced course in helping you to foundation yourself as a creator, leader, and influencer, and really release a lot more of your power. So with that, as always, lots and lots of love, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Teresa.
Bye.